Hello, everybody. I'm back and uploading something because, yes, it's going to be kind of a low effort video because basically I just want to blast through this video and project because I kind of got really bored and sick of it. And I'm like, well, I already spent so much time into making this. I'm just going to just do something, finish it, and then post something because I did spend quite a lot of effort into this and I did learn a couple things. And so here's what this video is for. And as you could see, it's been kind of a while since I've really made anything or posted anything, um, because a lot has happened. But you're not here to hear that. You're here to hear me talk about what I made, which is a sword. And I'm just gonna talk about the process that I went through, trying to get this idea off the ground and kind of things I've learned. And again, it's kind of a low effort video. I just really wanted to get get this out there and kind of just be done with this project. But it was a very cool idea in the beginning, and just wanted to share it with everybody. Let me start with the original idea. So I was going to try to make a giant life-size sword, similar to the one that Cloud holds in Final Fantasy, and have that light up and potentially other things. But that did not happen, unfortunately. But I did kind of design a sword. So yeah, it was a very ambitious idea. I had never worked with Arduinos or any kind of circuitry at all, so I thought this was a really cool idea that I really wanted to do, and was super motivated in the beginning in order to try to learn how to do circuitry as well as design something so massive that I could hold. And I was trying to do it for PAX East 2022. I think that was the goal, so I could try to bring it to an actual convention, but that did not happen. But and then this project kind of started back all the way in December 2021, and did not really. I worked on a little bit here and there, and then kind of trailed off due to reasons. And then and now I'm just man, this is a low hanging fruit. I spent so much time in this. I'm just going to go through it, but just to make something of it. But yeah, that was the whole idea. It was going to be a light up sword with an Arduino in it, where you could press a button in order to turn on the sword and maybe have different kind of customizations for the sword. And as you may know, I'm really into gears, so I also wanted it to be kind of steampunk, or with gears and stuff somehow incorporated into it. So that's kind of where this idea came along. And I first saw a wooden sword in my parents' place that I had got a long time ago when I was younger. And I was like, oh, what if I make this but 3D printed basically and make my own sword for that cosplay convention. So yeah, it started with me just drawing designs on the floor and trying to visualize how big the sword would be, and doing rough sketches in order to get a design that I thought would be cool, as well as kind of simple, because I knew it was a super ambitious project. So I was okay, I'll make a simple-ish sword so that I can still maybe realistically do it, and just go from there. Yeah, so a lot of this video is sunk cost fallacy. I spent so much time in it, so I'm going to do it. I think things I took away is that designing something very giant is very hard, so maybe I should start with something smaller. And I learned a lot about Arduino as well as circuit stuff, and uh, yeah, just more about 3D printing, I guess. All right, so I'm going to talk about the model a bit here. Yeah, it's not anything too special, at least in my opinion. I just did a lot of what did I do? Or it looks like I imported a model, I remember. Yeah, I imported a model of an Arduino so that I could see how that would actually fit inside the model. And then kind of design around the sides of that for in order the thickness of the sword. So I think, let's see if we can see it. Choose. Oh yeah. So here, yeah, you can see uh the Arduino inside of the sword right there. So that's how I use to try to kind of guess how thick I need things to be in order to actually fit inside. Um, yeah, I don't think there's anything too special here. I used a lot of I think I used a lot of the chamfer tool, because wanted it to still look kind of geometric. Also, I'm not that great at modeling. I just do geometric stuff. But yeah, just a lot of that and then kind of color coded the stuff to show what I wanted. I think these little let me see if I can show. If you can see my cursor a bit, there's these little trapezoid shapes. Those are originally going to be like clear so that I could put like an LED strip inside and have those light up based on the like whatever the setting that the user put. And also, I also wanted to put LED ring behind this object of the gear, like a circle, and that's why it's that big. I based it off a NeoPixel ring. So in this project for the LEDs, I was basically trying to use NeoPixels in order to like program them to light up whatever way I did with Arduino. And the reason I did that is because I knew in a class I took in college, that was something a professor suggested for like LED stuff was NeoPixels, but I didn't have the confidence nor the time to really go into that in college. But now I have the time and I am more confident, I hope, I think. And I tried a bit. So I was able to actually get that working just like the Arduino side. Um, I have some of the code. It's like very basic, but I had no idea what I was doing because it's like in C. I've never used an Arduino before, and then you have to also set up the circuits correctly and everything. Um, I'll show some videos while I'm like talking about that right now. But um, yeah, so I did get some of that working, and that was super cool. I thought it was. I still have the NeoPixels, so I might try to do a less ambitious project with those NeoPixels again, and do something else where the lights will actually be used. So we'll see, but TBD. Hopefully, I can do a project that I can actually follow through on. But yeah, back to the actual design. So actually these gears here, they're actually separated from the sword. They actually are, like theoretically, should be able to rotate. There's actually a tiny bit of space. Let's see if I can show it. Yeah, so you can see there's like a little rod here. There's actually, yeah, a little bit of space here. So when this prints, there's actually a possibility of it printing in place where the gear can rotate. I tried to have that imitated in the model, the mini model that I had created. But it doesn't necessarily work. Also, my printer isn't the best printer, but I think if someone had a really good printer and it could theoretically print so that this gear could rotate. I had tried to implement that in the mini version so that I could have kind of like a fidget sword, but I decided to like, since it wasn't really working because my printer was like not the best, I just probably have to make a bigger like hole. But I was too lazy for that, so I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna print it like this and then, just do it. It's not like I didn't really want to spend too much more time on this. But yeah, this is the model of the sword. Um, and I had the colors here based on like what I thought would look good um, to try to just like visualize stuff better. Yeah, so this sword is approximately like 30 inches long, which is pretty massive. That's um, probably like almost half my size or something. But yeah, so I just really wanted to make a giant ass sword. Um, yeah, so that's one thing, and I think it's about like 6 inches in diameter. Let's check. Yeah, or 5 inches. Oh, but probably with the gears, probably around six. But yeah, the here's the me merging the entire sword together into one. Um, I just copied the file and just made another one. So this is the model that you see that I'll upload in Thingiverse and whatnot. But yeah, so you can see these two parts are separated. The gear that I was talking about because they're not technically connected, but yeah, when things print, it's not necessary. It can't really print that small of a gap very well, especially on my printer. I think I'd have to make it bigger. But if someone did have a very precise printer, they could print it so that it could rotate theoretically. Yeah, this is the model just as one. It's still pretty fun fidget toy, not gonna lie. So I'm not I feel like I'm not like this is not what I originally intended. I think I feel like I'm sounding very negative in my entire video because I'm like, damn, this is the idea I tried to make, but this didn't happen. But I think I'm still pretty satisfied with the way it came out because it's like kind of fun to just hold around while I'm like working or something. So yeah. So I did try to print the gear in its like intended size just to get a good feel of if I did print this in the originally designed size of the sword, like how would it look? And I thought it looked really good. So the way I had modeled it with all the colors and I printed it with those colors in mind. This is like it looks white, but yeah, it's supposed to be clear. But yeah, it just gave me a really cool, good idea of like, wow, this actually could look really good if I finished it. But that is something that I did get to doing. And in the like mini version of this model, I did just merge everything together, so the colors aren't really there. But I do think it was like a really cool color scheme of like blue, black, white, basically, and then some LED colors that could be changed. I just thought it was like very slick. So I actually ran into some issues when I printed out the mini sword when I merged everything together. I thought everything would go fine and dandy if I just merged it and printed it upright, but like this, in order to try to get the most refined details with the least amount of supports required, and that was this method was the way I like think is the best way to print this. There are some artifacts, as you can see, but I realized a bigger art problem was that in the first time I printed the mini version, there's like a hole where in the middle of the gear where it should not be, and this is because the after like scaling down the sword, the model where the inside of the gear was too thin, and so the slicer actually thought it was invisible, or like they counted it as like a non-layer, so it didn't print anything. So I had to go back and increase the little layer, I guess, between the gear so that it would actually print and not be a hole. Since I went from something huge to something small, that could even happen. I thought the slicer would always like print something even if it detected that there was a like line or some kind of like 3D object there, but I guess not. I guess the slicer that I have doesn't do that. I am using an older one, so I'm not sure if it's because of that. But either way, that is something else I learned. All right, so this is the final print after making the fixes of like the hole I had in this one. Yep, the little bit slight modification of the gear. That's basically the only difference. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. Look, I can slice things. And it's like perfect. Oops, I dropped it. But it's like kind of nice to just hold. Or like when I'm bored, I might play with it whenever I'm just like working or something. But yeah, the gear does not turn, unfortunately. But maybe in the next project I do, I can actually try to do a print and place thing. So yeah, here's the little sword thingy. Yeah, so thank you for listening to my TED Talk of this project that I did that didn't end up going the way that it originally intended, but pivoted into something else.